Yo, what's up, everybody? Congratulations on your nomination to the Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies, Cohort 26. This video will provide you with all the information you need to start your application to the Bicoastal Seminar. It's a pretty basic video. There's three parts to it. In the first part, I'll talk a little bit about what ARCJS is, what the Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies is. In the second part, talk a little bit about what the Bicoastal Seminar is. And then lastly, I'll share a few slides on how to apply. The Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies is basically a mission-driven undergraduate academic journal. We are a knowledge producing venue. We are an intellectual culture. In a sentence, I would say that we publish the best of what our universities have to offer. I want to talk a little bit about what knowledge production is because it's important and it's the central reason we come together. Don't want to get too deep into it for this video. So let's just go with the Google definition. Knowledge production is a collection of activities that take place in research centers, higher education institutions, and enterprises to produce new knowledge. Knowledge production is basically exactly what it sounds like. Our goal here as a community, our goal here as a journal is to generate new knowledge. What's special about the Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies is what we consider to be the products of knowledge, the products of the process of generating new knowledge. Artistic expressions are a form of knowledge production. Manuscripts, essays, written works, these are forms of knowledge production. Films, even, are sometimes more powerful and more impactful forms of knowledge production. At the Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies, we value the rigor of researched and thoughtfully produced products of knowledge. And I want you to keep that in mind as you consider being a part of our community, being a part of Cohort 26, because while we welcome and recruit students who are writing research papers and essays, if you look at our previous volumes, you'll see that we also have poetry. Excuse me. You'll see that we also have poetry. You'll see that we have creative writing, and you'll see that we have a few autobiographical pieces as well. So just keep that in mind that we are an inclusive space when it comes to valuing the impactful nature of what knowledge production can be. And that brings me to this next point about why we value, why you should participate in the processes of knowledge production. Through the process of producing your own original work, you're going to develop an area of expertise. If you apply and are invited to join Cohort 26, you're going to spend the semester really diving deep into a topic area of your choice. Typically, students come in with a writing sample or have already begun the process of investigating an important issue to them, to their families, or to their career trajectories. As a member, as a part of the community of the cohort 26 here at ARCJS, you're gonna develop even further expertise on that topic. But also, knowledge production can promote social justice. It can advocate for change. It could be the ways in which we participate and contribute to important conversations of our contemporary moment. If you look at really any of the progressive, transformative legislation, like the one you see here on the screen, this is informed by deep, rigorous academic research. It's no hyperbole to say that knowledge production can really change the world. And we want to see undergraduates, we want to see historically marginalized voices amplified in the current moment. And so ArcJS intends to support students who share this excitement to make a difference in the areas that really require the best thinkers to bring their minds to it. And so, the impact of knowledge production is that it can inspire, it can educate, and it can honor histories, people, and communities. So please, as you think about what your contribution to the literature, what your contribution to intellectual culture will be, keep in mind that we are not we don't take a narrow definition of what knowledge production is or means. And so the way we see it is that it's your turn to lead the conversation. We, at this point of the year, almost challenge our students to show up to the mic, to show up to the keyboard, to show up to important issues by producing new knowledge on how to make sense of it, and most importantly, how to change it and how to envision a better future for all of us. Let me say a few things about our mission and scope, which you could find the details of it at our website, so I don't want to say too much. For this short video, it is important to recognize that the annual review of criminal justice studies is a venue that centers, prioritizes, and cultivates critical analyses of law, crime, and justice systems and their entanglement with larger political economic processes. You know, for the majority of you, you may understand what we mean by critical, but just in case, let me retell a story that should be very familiar to all of you. There once was these three friends, and they were walking along the shoreline of a river. And as they're enjoying the scenery and as they're enjoying their day and having laughs and enjoying the birds and the trees and the breeze and the little splashes that are coming off of the river, they see in the middle of the water an individual drowning, just really struggling and going under and really having a hard time of things. One of the friends screams out to the person, trying to give them instruction on how to survive the rapids that they're in, giving instruction on how to swim, how to pull themselves out of the water, screaming, shouting, how to kick your feet and how to flail your arms. But the second person dives right in, swims out, grabs the person, drags them back to the shore, and revives them. And then the three friends continue on their walk. And a little further up the way, about 100 yards, 50 yards or so, they see the same scene. Somebody is drowning in the water. The first friend screams and shouts, "This is how you swim. Pull yourself out of that water. Kick your feet, flail your arms." The second friend jumps in, saves the day once again, pulls this one individual out of the water, revives them, and then they continue on their hike up the river. And 50 yards, 100 yards later, they see another individual drowning in the water. This time, before the first friend can shout instructions, before the second friend can jump in and save the day, the third friend starts running up the trail. The first two friends are confused and they shout, "Where are you going? This person needs help. What are you doing?" And the third friend screams, "I'm going upstream to try to find out the source of this problem." And so, what would you do? What do you think would be most impactful for addressing this issue of individuals drowning in the water? Would you shout to them from the shore? Would you jump in to help them? Would you investigate and aim to solve the root issue going on here? If person after person after person is drowning, there must be something going on upstream. This is very well known. It's a very well known parable, and it's helpful to understand the differences between three paradigmatic approaches to studying, making sense of, and transforming social phenomena. Briefly, you could probably put this together. These are the differences between the conservative, liberal, and critical approaches. These are fundamental differences, and at the heart of it, a critical approach aims to investigate the root causes of problems. And this is what we mean here at the Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies by critical. We prioritize, we support, and we publish works by students who aim to analyze, understand, and transform the root causes of issues related to crime, law, and justice systems. And so, what is the Bicoastal Seminar? The Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies is a collaboration between San Francisco State University and the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. What we are here in the Bicoastal Seminar is a community building space. This is where we network across the two coasts. We spend the time together learning and growing and reciprocating feedback on each other's ideas and on each other's research projects. Basically, in a sentence, we meet once a week via Zoom to just check in, to workshop, and to learn new skills together. What exactly we end up doing week by week, it changes depending on the group, and in many ways it's student led once we get going and as the community grows. But here are some of the seminar activities that we'd engage in. Of course, we'd community build and develop new connections with like-minded colleagues across the coast and often within the same university. It's very common for students at San Francisco State to meet other San Francisco State students who they wouldn't have otherwise. And the same goes over at John Jay. John Jay students end up connecting with other John Jay students who they wouldn't have otherwise. An important part of what we do in the seminar is we workshop. This is a space where you, aspiring authors, get to share your work in progress, talk to other intelligent, critical thinking and excited students who want to engage with your work and give you feedback. And it's also a place where you reciprocate that excitement. This is where you contribute to other people's growth and development and are valued for doing that. Some other things that we do is some lectures and trainings on topics of interest of the group. So as we form in the first few weeks of our seminar class, we'll get a sense of who's in it and what you all want to get out of the seminar. And we can schedule trainings and different lectures so that way it aligns with what you want to get out of the seminar. And so the bicoastal seminar this semester is going to run from September 15th to December 15th. It's a weekly Zoom meeting, and the day and time are to be determined. The reason that is because once we have the whole group of folks who are going to participate, once all the applications are in and the decisions are made, we want to make sure to pick a time and date that works for as many of the participants as possible. One quick side note for San Francisco State students, please ask about course credit because if you are a participant in the bicoastal seminar, we could figure out a way to get you up to 4 course credit units. You'll see this information in the application, but just in case you want to pause the video here, take a screenshot, these are the seminar meeting options. And please, if you want your time preference to be taken into consideration, please apply by September 10th, so that way we can prioritize the times that work for the majority of folks who are able to get their application in. And let's start wrapping up this video. How do you apply? It's a Qualtrics survey. The QR code you see on the screen is live. Go ahead and scan that. You can do the application right now. In fact, I encourage you to do it. It's it's going to ask about some very basic personal information, your name, your email. It's also going to ask about your research topic. So you can submit either an abstract if you already have a paper that you want to work on and strengthen for publication. Or if you don't have that yet, you can also submit a topic of interest paragraph. So once again, the application is now live. Don't overthink it too much. If you're watching this video, you were nominated or you were invited, so you're already kind of like 1 foot in the door. Um, hit get your phone out, scan the QR code. You can get started on it now, or at least see what the questions are. But the deadline to apply is September 13th. That's for a number of reasons. So please get to it as soon as possible. As we wrap up, just want to share a quote from an alumna who participated, who is a twice published author in the Annual Review of Criminal Justice Studies. And, Paola says that it really helps students who feel like they have a lot more to say than what their class papers allow them to. And she felt that it really gives a platform for students to amplify what it is they have to say. And I have to agree with her on this last line, is that it helps students feel important. And that's because students who take the extra effort to write their research papers, to develop a new piece of knowledge, publish it, share it with the world, are truly important. Your voices, your thoughts, your perspectives on our pressing social issues of the day is needed more than anything else. So I would say that she's right to an extent that it helped students feel important. But the fact of the matter is that students writing on important topics is the most important thing that we need to move our societies, our cultures, and our world in the best direction possible. I really look forward to working with you, seeing your applications, and spending the fall developing your work. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email. It's right here on the screen. Many of you know my office hour. If you don't, Tuesdays and Thursdays, just come through Health and Social Sciences, room 334 from 11 to 12. Just pop in or shoot me an email and we could schedule it instead. All right, y'all. If you have any questions, you already know where to go. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Peace.